lives. I cannot think of a policy outcome more important than protecting the lives of American citizens. Can you? This trend has been especially clear in Washington, D.C. and in Memphis. These are two iconic American cities that spent years in
April 15, 2023, Interstate 40, westbound lanes near Elk City, Oklahoma, 2:47 p.m. Oklahoma Highway Patrol Trooper Marcus Davidson pulls over a white 2019 Ford F-2504 following too closely. Standard traffic enforcement. The driver provides license and registration. Clean record. Commercial hauler with legitimate cargo documentation. The truck bed carries construction equipment bound for Arizona. Everything checks out, except the weight distribution is wrong. Davidson notices the rear suspension sits lower than the load specification should require. He requests a secondary inspection. 23 minutes later, drug detection canines alert on the truck's custom-built toolbox. Inside the hollow compartment beneath legitimate tools, 42 kilograms of methamphetamine, vacuum-sealed 21 2-kilogram packages. But street value, $1.2 million. The driver, 34-year-old Michael Chen of Phoenix, initially refuses to speak. Then he makes a calculation. Chen tells investigators about the network, not just his truck, 18 others, all operating simultaneously across 5 interstate corridors, all controlled by the same distribution cell, all invisible until this moment. The system emerges. Federal agents from the Drug Enforcement Administration and FBI arrive within hours. Chen's cooperation opens a window into an operation that had been functioning undetected for 27 months. The structure was sophisticated. The execution was methodical. The scale was unprecedented for a regional network. Each vehicle operated independently on paper. Different registered owners, different insurance providers, different license plate states, different routes with different schedules. Surface-level investigation would reveal 19 separate entities with no apparent connection. That was the design. The cartel cell operating this network had studied law enforcement interdiction patterns and constructed a system specifically engineered to avoid detection through traditional surveillance methods. The vehicles themselves formed a deliberately diverse fleet. No pattern in makes or models, no shared commercial markings, no unified branding. The roster included pickup trucks, cargo vans, box trucks, SUVs with enclosed trailers, and one recreational vehicle modified with hidden compartments built into the wastewater tanks. Investigators would later determine that each vehicle cost between $35,000 and $78,000 to acquire and modify. Total capital investment in the fleet, approximately $950,000. The modifications alone, professional-grade hidden compartments with hydraulic access systems, represented another $340,000 in construction costs. Every vehicle carried legitimate cargo matched to its apparent purpose. The RV contained actual camping equipment. The landscaping trucks held real lawnmowers and fertilizer. The construction vehicles transported genuine building materials. The cover wasn't an afterthought. It was the foundation. Each driver maintained documentation proving legitimate business operations. Tax records existed. Business licenses checked out. Insurance policies were current and properly structured. The narcotics traveled beneath this surface legitimacy in compartments that required specific knowledge to access. Nichen's toolbox required 3 magnetic contact points to be triggered in sequence before the false bottom would release. Other vehicles used electronic actuators tied to specific radio frequencies. One cargo van required the simultaneous depression of 2 unmarked floor pedals while the parking brake was engaged. The engineering demonstrated professional fabrication expertise and significant capital resources. The geographic web Chen's phone, seized during the traffic stop, contained encrypted messaging applications that investigators cracked within 18 hours. The communications revealed routing schedules coordinated through a central dispatcher using the alias Logistics. The 19 vehicles operated on staggered 5-day cycles across predetermined corridors. Interstate 40 served as the primary east-west artery. Interstate 35 connected northern and southern distribution points. Interstate 44 provided northeastern access. Interstate 25 covered western mountain routes. Interstate 70 handled eastern metropolitan markets. Each vehicle completed 1 round trip every 5 days. Each trip carried between 38 and 65 kilograms of methamphetamine. The mathematics became clear quickly. 19 vehicles, 50 trips per vehicle annually, average 42 kilograms per trip. total annual volume, approximately 39,900 kilograms, at wholesale prices of $8,500 per kilogram in destination markets. The network generated $339,150,000 in annual revenue. Even accounting for production costs, transportation overhead, and operational expenses, the profit margins exceeded $200 million annually. Distribution points formed a hub-and-spoke pattern. Primary loading occurred at 4 secure warehouses in southern Texas and New Mexico. Secondary distribution centers operated in Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Denver, and Phoenix. Each center maintained legitimate business covers: a trucking company, a moving and storage facility, a commercial laundry service, an agricultural equipment supplier, all properly licensed, all paying taxes, all employing legitimate workers who had no knowledge of the parallel operations occurring in secured sections of the facilities. The drivers received $5,000 per successful delivery. Clean records were mandatory. Most drivers had no prior criminal history before recruitment. Background checks revealed middle-class individuals facing financial pressures, medical debt, mortgage difficulties. By small business failures, the recruiters targeted economic vulnerability with precision. The pay structure included performance bonuses for on-time deliveries and penalties for route deviations. Professional management applied to criminal logistics. The investigation accelerates Chen's cooperation triggered simultaneous operations across 6 states. DEA Special Agent Karen Mitchell led the federal task force from the Oklahoma City field office. The strategy required perfect timing. Arresting drivers individually would alert the network. They needed simultaneous takedowns across the entire system. Surveillance teams established monitoring positions on all 19 vehicles within 72 hours of Chen's arrest. GPS trackers were placed during brief traffic stops using probable cause warrants. Phone communications were intercepted through Title III wiretaps authorized by federal judges in 3 districts. The network's dispatcher, still unaware of Chen's cooperation, continued normal operations while agents documented every movement, every delivery, every communication. The evidence accumulation took 47 days. Agents photographed each vehicle at loading points. They documented arrival and departure times at distribution centers. They recorded phone calls between drivers and dispatchers. They tracked cash payments and wire transfers. They identified the network's financial structure through bank records subpoenaed from 17 different institutions. The money moved through layered shell companies and legitimate business accounts in patterns designed to obscure the criminal source. Each driver believed they operated independently. None knew about the others. The compartmentalization was absolute. Only the dispatcher and the network's financial controller, identified as Roberto Vega, 41, of El Paso, understood the full scope. Vega managed everything from a legitimate freight brokerage office in a suburban business park. His company handled actual commercial shipping contracts for real clients. The cartel logistics ran parallel to legitimate operations using the same infrastructure and administrative systems. Tactical execution. June 2nd, 2023. 6 a.m. Mountain Time. Coordinated enforcement actions begin. Federal agents execute search warrants on all 4 primary loading facilities simultaneously. In Las Cruces, New Mexico, agents find 847 kilograms of methamphetamine in a warehouse registered to Southwest Commercial Storage. In Laredo, Texas, a raid on Border Freight Solutions yields 1,203 kilograms and $2.4 million in cash. In El Paso, agents arrest Roberto Vega at his office and seize financial records documenting $47 million in transactions over 18 months. In Albuquerque, the 4th warehouse facility contains only legitimate freight, but forensic analysis would later reveal trace evidence of previous narcotics storage. At the same time, tactical teams intercept all 18 remaining vehicles. 16 drivers are taken into custody without incident. 2 drivers attempt to flee. One 39-year-old James Porter leads Oklahoma Highway Patrol on a 17-mile pursuit before crashing his box truck into a highway barrier west of Weatherford. He survives with moderate injuries. The truck contains 53 kilograms of methamphetamine. The second, 27-year-old Diana Reyes, abandons her cargo van in a Denver shopping center parking lot and disappears on foot. She's arrested 6 hours later at a motel in Aurora. Her vehicle contains 38 kilograms. The secondary distribution centers are raided throughout the morning. The Kansas City facility yields another 384 kilograms and detailed ledgers documenting local distribution networks. The Phoenix Center produces 512 kilograms and evidence of connections to Mexican cartel leadership. The Denver facility contains 276 kilograms and communications equipment, linking directly to cartel operations in Sinaloa. The Oklahoma City Center, located in a commercial district, holds the smallest cache, 91 kilograms, but investigators find detailed route maps and contingency plans for evading law enforcement. Total seizure from all locations: 3,404 kilograms of methamphetamine, $7.8 million in currency, 19 vehicles valued collectively at approximately $1.1 million, electronic devices containing thousands of communications, financial records documenting the network's complete operational history. The prosecution framework. The United States Attorney's Office for the Western District of Oklahoma filed charges under the Continuing Criminal Enterprise Statute. The indictment names 37 defendants. 19 drivers face mandatory minimum sentences of 10 years for drug trafficking conspiracy. Roberto Vega faces a potential life sentence as the network's operational commander. 8 warehouse managers and logistics coordinators face conspiracy charges carrying 20-year minimums. 10 local distributors identified through communications intercepts face varying charges based on their roles. The case proceeds through federal court with unusual speed. 16 drivers accept plea agreements in exchange for cooperation and testimony. Their sentences range from 8 to 15 years. 3 drivers, including James Porter and Diana Reyes, proceed to trial. All 3 are convicted after a 14-day trial in Oklahoma City. Porter receives 23 years. Reyes receives 18 years. The third defendant, Andrew Morrison, receives 21 years. Roberto Vega's trial lasts 6 weeks. Prosecutors present 847 exhibits. 43 witnesses testify. The evidence includes phone recordings, surveillance footage, financial records, and testimony from cooperating defendants. The jury deliberates for 11 hours, guilty on all 17 counts. United States District Judge Sarah Hammond sentences Vega to life imprisonment without parole on December 8, 2023. The warehouse managers and coordinators receive sentences ranging from 12 to 28 years. The local distributors receive between 5 and 16 years, depending on their level of involvement and cooperation. Total sentences imposed across all defendants: 487 years of federal imprisonment. Asset forfeiture proceedings seize all 19 vehicles. Both residential properties owned by Vega, 3 commercial properties tied to the distribution centers, and $11.4 million in bank accounts traced to the operation. The forfeited funds are allocated to federal law enforcement agencies and drug treatment programs in affected communities. The aftermath and implications. DEA Administrator Ann Milgram holds a press conference in Washington on December 15, 2023. This operation represents a new level of sophistication in cartel distribution networks, she states. The compartmentalization, the legitimate business covers, the geographic dispersion, all of it is designed to prevent traditional litigation. One alert trooper in Oklahoma unraveled an operation that was generating hundreds of millions of dollars annually while remaining virtually invisible to law enforcement. The investigation reveals disturbing patterns. The network had been operating since January 2021. More than 1,900 successful deliveries occurred before Chen's arrest. Conservative estimates suggest the network distributed approximately 80,000 kilograms of methamphetamine to American communities over 27 months. The social cost cannot be calculated in dollar amounts. The human cost appears in treatment centers, emergency rooms, and families destroyed by addiction. Federal authorities acknowledge that similar networks likely operate today. The cartel model demonstrated by this case: legitimate businesses, clean drivers, professional logistics. Or geographic dispersion remains viable. Detection requires either extraordinary luck, like Trooper Davidson noticing incorrect suspension characteristics, or resource-intensive intelligence operations targeting cartel leadership, rather than street-level distribution. Highway patrol agencies across the Southwest have implemented enhanced training focused on vehicle modification indicators and behavioral analysis. Federal task forces have increased surveillance on commercial freight operations in border regions. Financial institutions face heightened scrutiny for transaction patterns matching the layered structure used by Vega's network, but the fundamental challenge remains. Interstate commerce involves millions of vehicles daily. Legitimate freight operations are indistinguishable from criminal ones without specific intelligence. The cartels understand American logistics infrastructure with professional expertise. They exploit its scale, its complexity, and its essential role in the economy. One traffic stop in Oklahoma exposed a $339 million criminal enterprise. The question that haunts federal agents is not how many similar networks they have discovered. It is how many remain undiscovered. How many vehicles are moving narcotics through America's highway system right now, invisible beneath legitimate covers, operated by people with clean records and professional demeanors, managed by sophisticated criminals who learned from this case and adapted their methods. The interstate highways connect every region of America. They enable commerce and mobility. They are essential to the nation's economic life. And somewhere on those highways today, another convoy operates, another network functions, Another fortune accumulates from American addiction while the drugs flow undetected through the arteries of the Republic. This case closed.